A narcissist will make you feel like you're nothing, but then if you try to leave, they don't let you go. Why is that? Attempting to leave them causes nothing but pain and confusion. So let's break this down. Let's get into the narcissistic supply, how they view their partners, how cheating is related, and why victims can't just leave. Firstly, narcissists need supply. So what does that mean? In simple terms, narcissistic supply is a term that's used to describe the attention, admiration, and validation that someone with narcissistic tendencies craves from others. Narcissists have an insatiable need for attention and praise, and they seek it out through various ways like manipulating, controlling others, or boasting about their achievements to anyone who will listen. They thrive on attention, admiration, and adoration. They view their romantic partners as objects that provide them with this supply, and they don't see their partners as humans with their own feelings and needs, but rather things that exist solely to serve them. And this is why they're often so charming and charismatic in the beginning of a relationship. They're trying to win over their partner's affection and devotion. They're building your trust and they're creating a dependency on them for love, approval, and validation. And once they've secured you as their supply, their behavior changes drastically. They become manipulative, controlling, emotionally abusive, but of course still expect you to continue providing them with the supply that they need. And this is why they often won't let their victims walk away. They need them too much. Narcissists feel entitled to your attention and your admiration regardless of how they treat you. They don't see their abuse towards you as a problem. They view you as an object or a tool for their own self-gratification, and they do not care about the harm that they cause you. In fact, they feel a sense of power and control, knowing how well they can manipulate you into giving them their supply. And yes, they know that they're hurting you. Leaving a narcissist means that they lose their source of supply, and they internalize that as a failure. Narcissists have an incredibly fragile sense of self, and they need others to constantly validate them in order to feel good about themselves. So when someone tries to leave them, it's a blow to their ego. They can't handle that. To a narcissist, being left by their victim feels like a personal failure, right? It's a blow to their self-esteem. And it serves as a confirmation that they're not as special or powerful as they believe themselves to be. It can trigger feelings of shame and inadequacy, and to them, that is intolerable. They feel rejected. That's devastating to them because their sense of self, which really is all about being perfect, superior, deserving of special treatment, worthy, it's being shattered. So they'll go to great lengths to protect their self-image and to avoid you leaving because your departure is a threat to their ego. Narcissists have an intense fear of shame and failure, and that leads them to be extremely defensive and protective of their self-image. They will go to great lengths to avoid absolutely anything that could be even perceived as criticism, including the idea of you leaving them. So as a result, narcissists are not okay with the idea of you leaving, even if that means that they have to resort to manipulative or abusive tactics to keep you around. They may try to control or sabotage your efforts to leave by gaslighting, guilt-tripping, or even threatening you. They also idealize you one minute and devalue you the next in an attempt to keep you off balance and dependent on their approval. So what about when the narcissist won't let you leave and they're cheating on you? A narcissist will engage in behaviors that really prioritize their own needs and desires. And cheating is a way for them to fulfill their own needs for attention, validation, and admiration without considering how their actions may affect their partner. This gives them even more supply because multiple people want them. And they'll never see their cheating as a valid reason for you to leave them. Understanding the reasons behind why they cheat can be helpful. Narcissists cheat for a bunch of reasons. And one common reason is that they have an inflated sense of self-importance and entitlement, and that leads them to feel that they're entitled to engage in extramarital affairs or have multiple sexual partners. They might be seeking constant validation and attention, and they might not be able to get that from just one partner. And that's not your fault. Narcissists may also cheat because they lack the emotional empathy and the ability to consider how their actions will actually affect their partner. But here's something that you may never have considered, but it's so important. They view their partner as an extension of themselves and not as a separate individual with their own feelings and their own needs. So for some narcissists, this means that they're not able to consider how their actions will affect their partner emotionally, or for some, they do understand, but they just don't care. Because narcissists see themselves as the center of the universe, they may believe that their partner exists solely to meet their needs and desires. Remember that narcissists experience empathy on a spectrum. Their empathy is limited and inconsistent. A narcissist may be able to feel empathy in situations where they can identify with the other person's emotions when it benefits them to do so. And in this example that we're using about cheating, that's not one of them. Another reason that narcissists cheat is because they might be seeking some novelty and excitement. They become bored pretty easily with routine, and they sometimes seek out new experiences, new sensations, and that can lead them to engage in risky behaviors, including infidelity. They may also feel like you're pulling away, and they risk losing your supply, so they attempt to fill that gap with another person who will provide that to them. Have you ever tried to tell a narcissist why you want to end the relationship? They get super defensive, they resist your feedback and criticism, they might even become angry or defensive when confronted with your issues because they are, to them, perceived failures. They're highly sensitive to perceived slights or insults, and they may respond with aggression, manipulation, or even revenge when they feel that their ego has been bruised. The narcissist's response to your attempts to tell them what your issues with the relationship are will be driven by their own sense of entitlement and need for control. You'll generally see a complete lack of empathy for your feelings or well-being. They want to make you feel like you're nothing without them and like no one else will ever love you. This is a way of keeping you dependent and feeling trapped. But let's talk about you now. Why do you not just hear this, see through it, and leave? Why is it so hard for victims to just walk away? Well, they might be in a trauma bond with the narcissist. A trauma bond is a strong emotional attachment that forms between a victim and an abuser, where there's intermittent positive reinforcement mixed with cycles of abuse and devaluation. They are incredibly difficult to break. You may feel like you need the narcissist, even though you know you're being mistreated. This is because the narcissist has likely spent a lot of time grooming you to become dependent on them. A narcissist will engage in intermittent reinforcement where they alternate between positive and negative behavior towards you. This creates a sense of uncertainty and anxiety in you because you never know when you'll receive approval or disapproval from them. They may have isolated you from your friends and family, made you feel like no one else would ever love you, and convinced you that they're the only one who truly understands and cares for you. This type of conditioning can be incredibly difficult to break free from, and it can take a lot of time and effort to heal from this kind of trauma. Narcissists condition their victims to tolerate more and more abusive behavior through a variety of tactics, including love bombing, gaslighting, isolation, intermittent reinforcement, and blame shifting. When someone is in a trauma bond with a narcissist, it can be extremely difficult to use logic and rational thinking to break free from the relationship. Victims in trauma bonds often feel a deep sense of love and connection to the abuser despite the abuse that they're experiencing. The narcissist has created an emotional dependency. The victim trusts the narcissist, and so they're highly susceptible to their manipulation. The victim just can't believe that the narcissist is truly bad, and they're experiencing cognitive dissonance. That's the fog or the mental discomfort that we have when we're trying to hold two different opposing beliefs, like the abuser is both good and bad, like they're both the knife and the Band-Aid. The victim in a trauma bond has lost trust in themselves and their own perceptions. So this means when the narcissist devalues the victim, but won't let them leave or even begs them to stay, it feels confusing. And it's easy to say that actions speak louder than words, but when you're in it, it's just not that simple. Abusive relationships are highly complex and leaving is never easy. So if you're in a relationship like this and you want help to leave, you can connect with me on my website at strongerthanbefore.ca, or you can enroll in my 12-week self-paced program called the Trauma Bond Recovery Course. Escaping this is possible, and you are not alone.